Jordan, can you turn off the music? Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Women's History Month. I'm Mark Jaffe. I'm the president of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to the General Society Library. By the way, this building is managed and operated by a woman-owned executive director. It's a nonprofit, and Victoria is amazing. She helps veterans, she helps small businesses, and she certainly helps the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce with all this space. And we're privileged to be in the building on the 4th floor. If you haven't been to our offices, I believe if you go to our website, chamber.nyc, we're having an open house luncheon next week. We try to do a lot of events because networking works. And we try to work with a lot of the different state and city and federal agencies because we want you, our members, to know how to do things right. And believe it or not, our federal partners, our state partners, and our city partners are our friends. So if you have any questions, you can call 212-CHAMBER, and that's our phone number, 242-6237, and we will help you get the right information as quickly as possible. I want to thank our great staff. I see Helena's here, and Helena Nat, our executive director. And we have our two great interns at the bar. I think they're starting to get paid now, but they do a great work, so let's put our hands together for them. So we've been doing Women's History Month now for, 25 years. And I got a call from one of my favorite women, the Commissioner of Labor and her whole department, said, we want to do something special for Women's History Month. And I said, let me think a minute. Let's kick off our Women's History Month celebration, which you're all invited to stay after. We're going to have a celebration. And we're going to do a little roundtable. And again, it goes back to the remarks I made. If you want to do things right, the Chamber will help you. And the agencies, I'm an attorney, I learned agency law. And basically that's working with agencies and understanding their rulemaking process and their rules. And that's why the Chamber can be a nice bridge between you and labor. But today, we have a special, I don't know if we should call it the Francis Perkins Day, but we're going to bring up our great panel from the New York State Department of Labor. We have a program if you don't have it, but let me call up Sarah Carlson, the Special Assistant to the Executive for the New York State Department of Tax and Finance. See, we can help you. If your taxes or you're getting bills from the taxation department, it's not a bad thing. We will help you correct whatever deficiencies you may have or advocate if you don't have a deficiency. But let's get it right so that you don't have to worry about it and you can sleep at night. So Sarah Carlson's coming up. We have Orville Abrahams. He's the Deputy Commissioner for the New York State Department of Labor. And Roberta Reardon's been in this house several times. I believe this is the first time I'm meeting you, sir. So
first time.
Welcome to our territory, small businesses. And then we have Mr. Cornelius. He is with he's the Commissioner's representative for the New York State Department of Labor. Again, I've worked with him for almost 15 years. And we can help you. Come on up. We have Michael Thiemann. He is the business advocate. And that means he's here to help you. And I was talking to him briefly before we started, before I made my remarks, and we're going to do some great things together to educate you. And we have Alvin Cooley. He's the Assistant Manager for the New York State Insurance Fund. If you're not paying the New York State Insurance Fund, give us a call and we'll straighten out that problem because it's a necessary fund because that's what government does. It protects workers, and that's why we need and want an insurance fund. We have Anthony Tomaselli from the New York State Workers' Compensation Board. And again, he's our advocate. And that means he's here to help small businesses. And Mary Parrish is the Principal Workers' Compensation Examiner. So she can come and look at your books, but we work together. So if you have a question, call 212-CHAMBER. We'll look at your books, and then we'll tell you what you're looking at, and I have learned that our agencies understand that if you're willing to correct the mistakes, they'll be very lenient with you and help you get through the problem. But if you keep making mistakes, just like in baseball, spring training, 3 strikes you're out. If you don't want to follow the rules, you will get in trouble. And I'm telling you that right now. So we will help you comply. And I think I've called up everybody, right? Did I leave anybody out?
Got them all.
So I'm going to turn it over to the agencies now. And again, if you don't have a program, you can get one on the way out. Orville?
So my name is Orville Abrahams. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Business Advocacy at the New York State Department of Labor. And I want to thank Mark and the Chamber for having us here today. We love doing this, and we feel that the things that we're going to be able to talk to you about today and questions that we can answer for you today are going to make a difference in your business. So there is a role for you to play. You have to ask some questions, and don't be shy. So it is Women's History Month, and as appropriate, I'm going to invite up Sarah Carlson from the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance, and she is going to lead us off with a thought on women's history.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today as we celebrate Women's History Month, a time to reflect on the incredible contributions of women who have shaped our society. And among them stands Frances Perkins, a woman whose vision, resilience, and dedication forever changed the American workforce. Frances Perkins was not just the first woman to serve in a U.S. cabinet position. She was a pioneer who redefined what was possible for women in leadership. As Secretary of Labor under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, she was the driving force behind some of our most fundamental workers' rights that we take for granted today. Think about the 40-hour work week, minimum wage laws, Social Security, unemployment insurance, and child labor protections. These were not just policies, but lines that she fought tirelessly to implement. But Perkins' journey was far from easy. As a woman in a male-dominated government, she faced skepticism, resistance, and constant scrutiny, yet she never wavered. She used her expertise, her wavering commitment to social justice, and her ability to bring people together to craft policies that lifted millions of Americans out of poverty during the Great Depression. Her story is a testament to the power of perseverance and purpose. It reminds us that real change happens when bold individuals step forward, break barriers, and refuse to accept the status quo. Frances Perkins saw injustice and dedicated her life to correcting it, not just for women, but for all workers, for future generations, and for us. So as we honor Women's History Month, let us remember Frances Perkins, not just as a name in history, but as an inspiration. May we carry her courage, compassion, and her commitment to justice into our own lives, because as she showed us, one determined voice can truly change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for those inspiring words. Frances Perkins, a true American hero. We all owe a debt of gratitude for the work that she has done and some of the things that she helped put into place stay with us today. That's your homework assignment. If you don't know, come up with one of the things that Frances Perkins has done. I also want to shout out my colleague here from Empire State Development. Jenny Lowell is in the house. So, Jenny does a lot of things, but she specializes in small businesses, so please seek her out and ask her really tough questions. Because the secret is Empire State Development has all the money. So today, we're pleased to have this panel of experts from the New York State Insurance Fund. We have Alvin Cooley from the Workers' Compensation Board. We have Mary Parrish my colleague from the Department of Labor, Michael Feeman, and of course the aforementioned Sarah Carlson from the Department of Taxation and Finance. So we want this to be interactive. We know there's some questions out there, and even if you don't think the questions fit, ask it anyways, because there's the knowledge in this panel is deep and wow, it's just amazing, the brain power that's up here, and experience. So I'll get to your question. But I'm going to kick it off with a few questions for our colleagues just to warm them up, just to get them going. So here we go. All right, let's start with Alvin at the New York State Insurance Fund. What is the mission of your agency? There's a mic there.
Oh, yeah, there's a mic on. Here.
Do a second. There it is.
Hey. That
Sure. This one works. Terrific.
Mission.
Mission. Something that you might like. You like paying more money for anything than you have to? No. So, our mission, and it is in the law, is to provide workers' compensation insurance. We also provide disability benefits and paid family medical leave coverage at the lowest possible cost, consistent with a solvent fund and adequate reserves. We are a not-for-profit agency. We are a self-supporting agency. It utilizes the premiums that we collect and investments to provide for the employers and workers of New York. We work for you.
Thank you, Alvin. The lowest cost insurance that you can get for your business, right here. So you've already won. All right, let's try another one. From the New York State Workers' Compensation Board, Mary Parrish. What is the most frequent issue businesses get wrong with workers' compensation insurance?
Ignoring our inquiry letters. We send an inquiry letter because we have record that there's a business, but our system is not finding insurance with your federal tax ID number. So we send out an inquiry letter, and most people, I'm a sole proprietor, they will just throw it in the trash and not answer it. And all we ask is that you answer and let us know. I have no employees. I'm not required to carry workers' comp insurance.
I heard an answer there to a follow-up question. Does a sole proprietor need workers' compensation insurance?
A sole proprietor with no employees is not required by law to have workers' compensation insurance, but they can get it if they choose.
Thank you. There's a 1099 question coming up too, so we'll hit on that. So my next question is for Michael Feeman at the New York State Department of Labor. And this one's close to my heart. What does the Business Advocacy and Engagement Office do at the Department of Labor?
We try to help business in New York State get the very most out of their state government. Certainly the Department of Labor, but we also can connect you to other agency advocates. We're here to help you thrive. We're here to help break the logjam if you're stuck in the bureaucracy. We're here to guarantee resolution if something isn't resolved. Quite simply. It's a premium service. Give me a call.
All right. So you're already winning. All right. My next question is for Sarah Carlson at the New York State Department of Taxation and Finances. All right. What do most businesses have problems with when it comes to their taxes, besides paying?
That is a loaded question. Do any businesses here collect and remit sales tax by any chance? Yes. I would say for sales tax, we would recommend that you keep a segregated bank account for your sales tax so that you're not commingling that money with your business, revenues and expenses. That's really how some businesses can get into trouble because you think, I'll just use that sales tax money to make my payroll this month. I'll pay it back, right? So that's really kind of leads you down a path. So we would recommend for businesses, keep a segregated sales tax account.
Thank you, Sarah. Shall I do one more round of questions, or do you guys feel like you're ready to hit them with the hard
Just a
questions?
follow-up for Sarah, because we represent a lot of small businesses, family-owned businesses, restaurants. I see that Turquoise Restaurant just came in. I know they pay their sales tax because the owner also runs the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, there we go.
But I remember before COVID, one of my members had bought a restaurant. There was a $150,000 delinquent bill. And you all know this. You go in and you get your bill and you see about an 8% tax on it. And then you leave your tip and you get your credit card bill. The businesses have the same issue. But I do believe it's all automated now and you're supposed to pay these taxes weekly, right? Am I correct?
For a lot of new sales tax vendors, you have to file quarterly. You can make payments throughout the quarter. One thing we do recommend businesses set up an online services account with the tax department. So you can, make payments, file returns, use our web file applications for sales tax, withholding tax. Really the fastest, easiest way to communicate with the department. Mentioning notices from the department, you can respond online. And then we also, similar to workers' comp, we have a taxpayer rights advocate. So if you do receive a notice from the department, again, you're getting lost within the bureaucracy, you feel like you have not received an answer that you're looking for, you still feel like you have questions or an issue, contact our taxpayer rights advocate. I have brochures over at my table on this side. An advocate will be assigned your case. Someone will contact you to provide issue resolution.
Amazing.
And that was a good answer to the question. So just to push the point home, those sales taxes, do not borrow them. I love what you said, create a separate account or open up this account and you can pay weekly. Because once you get into the habit of borrowing them, what happened to our member is not only did he get into the habit, but we explained it to him like he was a 2-year-old. This is not your money.
Yes, that is
You
correct.
borrowed it and they're willing to let you pay it back over a long period of time. But then during Christmas, he decided to borrow again.
Is that what interesting?
Yes, and for sales tax, we call it a trust tax, right? We are trusting you to collect that money from your customers and remit it to the state. So yeah, again, keep a segregated account, set up that online services account. You can make payments weekly. You're required to file quarterly. We also offer a quarterly new sales tax vendor webinar with the department. So again, if you have questions, the webinar is on our website. You can also grab my card if you have any questions. Reach out to us because again, as some of the other folks have mentioned, we want to be a resource to businesses, right? You do the right thing, we can help you. A lot of people think that we're just there, to come in with the audits and the collections, right? We want to be a resource to help you comply with the law, absolutely. So, yeah. But again, sales tax, it's a trust tax. It's not a tax that you can negotiate with us. We have programs called Over Compromise, where if you're having financial difficulties, you can make an offer. But for sales tax, it's not compromised. It's a trust tax. You owe that money, and it's where a lot of businesses can get into trouble.
Thank you, Sarah. Mark, since you're sitting on the panel, we're going to ask you a question too. So, and I heard you say earlier that you're just now paying your interns. We're from the state.
Well, let me explain that. I think the intern started last month, and Helena is in charge of payroll. How long have you been paying these interns?
Hopefully, it's supposed to be 1 week after they start.
I think we paid them within the first month. Am I correct, ladies?
We'll leave it there. We'll be back.
To double down on your point, we've been advocating truthfully that interns and a lot of the colleges, a lot of the larger businesses try to get over on that, but interns should be paid.
Yes.
They should be paid, and as you saw, we are paying them, but these ladies are brand new. I don't even know, I know Jordan, I don't know the new intern's name, but I think she's already on the payroll. Is that correct? Yeah. And what is your name? Amanda. And Amanda, do you come down from Westchester or do you live in New York?
All right, Amanda, I'm from the Department of Labor. I'm going to leave you my card. But we have a young lady in the back here who's just itching to ask a question. So, yes. Thank you.
Is that a rule that interns after one picture have to get paid anew?
So yeah, if you examine the law, the labor law says that you can't have an extended period of time before you pay your workers. So, yeah. So,
Is it all over the country? Interns, summer interns?
New York. I can only speak for New York.
My second question is business advocacy. You drove me out of business. Department of Labor drove me out of business.
We did.
Fined me $80,000. And 3 schools did not pay me. One, a New York City school didn't pay me. After telling me I did a great job with the 99 teachers who had jobs, were hired by me to teach students and trained by us to teach them online. There was another school in California that didn't pay us $40,000. We had an attorney go to the school, but the school went bankrupt. They declared bankruptcy and we couldn't get any money. And there was another school in Westchester that didn't pay us $20,000. So top of all that, Department of Labor drove me out of business. I've changed my business now. I'm a stretch coach. Okay?
Yep.
I was in education.
Yep.
I put everything online with the help of a consultant teacher. And I put my courses online and I hope to sell them now strictly online because I'm tired of doing business with human beings.
Understood. So, without getting into the details, but I would love to talk to you after we finish the panel, so I can learn a little bit more about your struggle and what happened here. I got tons of
And
questions.
to double down on that, our law center, if you just set up an appointment with Elena, we can go over everything and tell you your rights. We have a law center here. We're located right next to the New York City Bar. And we have 70 attorneys that are members that donate their pro bono hours to help people just like yourself.
So there's some resources here, but I'd definitely love to talk to you about this. This is very troubling to hear. Okay, all right. Okay. Does anybody else have a quick question? Yes.
Regarding the services of everyone on this panel, are they New York City based or New York State based?
New York State, but the city's in the state, so we're
Right.
covered. So
Okay, no, so the reason I ask is just because my company's headquartered in Westchester.
Yeah, New York State.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
We cover from the tip of one to St. Lawrence. I saw a hand up over here.
Yeah, my question is for Sarah. I don't need a mic, I'm okay. My question is for Sarah. When it comes to the sales tax certificate, are there certain entities that don't meet them? Because I get differing views on the topic, and I was told as a medical practice, because I'm not selling anything, I'm providing care, health insurance, cash. I don't need one, but then I'm still required to have one for New York City and other entities, and so there's this like back and forth.
Yeah, and there could be different rules.
Yeah.
New York State, New York City,
Right.
are different taxing entities. You got my card earlier.
Yeah, I do, but I just thought I'd ask in a public forum if there were other people that had a question.
Yeah. Of what's, taxable, not taxable. We do have a lot of those resources on our website. Sales tax can get really complicated. So yeah, I have my, information at the table if you have specific questions. Look into that.
So I want to be clear that the labor law for New York State covers the entire state, including the city. So you can have the Department of Labor, and we do administer services here in the city of New York. So we cover the entire state. New York City has its own peculiarities.
So just to piggyback off of that, so I'm also a medical provider, I'm a psychologist, and I'm providing telehealth So we also service women for New York, but also like I'm up in Stanford, so I do coaching, for Connecticut, for New Jersey, for other, states. So the sales tax would only be for New York, or I'd have to specifically look into to each state that I see women in.
So we have a lot of members with the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. We work in multiple jurisdictions and internationally, but that's our May events. But if you have employees who live and work for you in those states, you're probably subject to another taxing jurisdiction. And again, if you want some private consultation about that, just call Helena, 212 Chamber, and we will help you.
And same goes for sales tax, right? It's within New York State, it's within our counties, cities, localities, so yeah, and then it differs for different states and just even across New York State, the different rates. So we have a great rate lookup tool on our website. But again, for sales tax, check out our website. You can search sales tax webinar. Again, we offer those quarterly. The next one will be mid-June. You can listen to me and learn all about sales tax.
Sounds like fun.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I'll ask a question on the sales tax as well. Are there any benefits for small businesses? Do we get paid for collecting the sales tax, or any assistance because we have the same administration as larger businesses, but do we have to abide by the same things? We don't get a lower rate, we do the same things, we don't have any compensation for collecting the sales tax. And
yeah, I mean, the sales tax rates, I mean, they're set again by the state and each locality
the same
across
rules and
New York,
regulation
same
apply to
rules.
large, big businesses as well as small businesses. And we're expected to administer at the same level of proficiency as a large business with HR, accounting, lawyers on staff.
But it could be, larger amounts of transactions too. But again, that's why sign up for that sales tax webinar. We'll show you how to use our sales.
Well, actually, so what Sarah is saying, small businesses do get one advantage.
History month.
They don't have to file on a 3-day or weekly basis. They get a little longer time, and then you take that long weekend. But it is a privilege of owning a business in New York. There are a lot of costs, whether you're working out of your house, whether you're paying rent to your landlord. But as you heard Sarah say, it's a trust fund.
Yeah, it's a privilege.
We could look at our federal taxes, our personal income taxes, sales taxes, and now there's a congestion tax. But we can always advocate to people for taxes, but this tax is something that we're used to, and it works. And if you need some help, we have some great software programs that can help you stay in compliance with a minimum amount of time.
I get it. I've got to become the expert.
Have the mic back.
I have one more question. I want to hear from Sarah. Then I have a question for the insurance.
Yeah, I can, sign up for that webinar. Stop by my table, get my information. Because again, our sales tax web file application, it makes it really easy for you to file and remit your sales tax. So it sounds really complicated, but again, as an agency, right, we have the resources for small businesses to help you comply. So we do make it easy. Stop by, I'll give you some more information.
Thank you. Can I ask one more question about the insurance from the state?
Yes, please.
Insurance. Do you recommend, for a small business, to go directly to you to get our insurances, rather than going through a payroll service that helps us with a lot of the other, I don't know, like the total package kind of things that help us with all the HR and dealing with payroll, and takes a little bit of the administrative stuff off of us? Is it better to go directly to you?
So I'm with the State Insurance Fund for 42 years now. We are the best.
Okay. The best because of price or service?
Both of those are I work for a particular organization, and you know, like all of us, we're out here doing outreach and all that. But ultimately, the decision comes down to you as the business owner as to what is best for you. Your needs may vary. We're all offering assistance in terms of how to negotiate the system. And one word that you keep hearing over and over is website. We all have a website. State Insurance Fund actually has a small business program that we are running out. And the other thing that people that we've done this tour with before know that you haven't heard yet is free. Free. All of that information, all the knowledge that these people possess, it's available to you for free. You have your chamber here.
Well, we've got law right next door. We've got 70 attorneys who provide
Pro bono. I didn't do Latin, but I believe that's
Free.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the questions. So I'm going to give the panel another question. And this is one that we come across frequently. You operate a small business, and your brother is helping you out in the business. Do you have to have insurance? He's not, you didn't call him an employee, he's helping you. Do you have to have workers' compensation insurance for that person?
If this is a for-profit business, anybody who works for the business, whether they're paid or unpaid, relative or otherwise, they have to be covered by a workers' compensation policy.
And think about it this way. If your brother tripped carrying heavy boxes for you, you're going to want that workers' compensation insurance policy, and it's not very expensive. So if you're making money or trying to make money, that's why you have insurance. Invariably, we had to have laws when you drive your cars, because, you know, people say, I don't need it. But, you know, we all need it, because somebody has to pay the bill when a car hits somebody. And somebody has to pay the bill when you get hurt, trip, or fall at a job, at an event. So it's an advantage to think of it that way.
I'd like to add one more thing. I actually ran across a case. It was a mom and pop shop that they didn't have insurance because they didn't think they needed insurance. They actually had a delivery fellow that tripped and fell. He went to the hospital, said, how'd you get injured? I was making a delivery for my boss. They didn't have the insurance. That penalty has actually grown to about $182,000 that they had to pay out of pocket in penalties, medical bills, and lost wages for, they were probably paying them under the table, paying them cash. The insurance policy would probably have been about maybe $500–600 a year. A year. So for one delivery person, yeah, it could be around $500.
It's about protecting your assets.
Exactly. So just like driving a car, if you drive a car, you have to have insurance, because if somebody hits you, your insurance has still got to kick in with a no-fault system. So it's important to have insurance.
I just wanted to add one point. Oftentimes, you know, we're seen as regulatory, and we're all our agencies are coming out there and telling you what you should and shouldn't do. We're charging you fees if you go away from the laws and the rules. But really, it's about managing risk. You know, like Mary was just talking about. Your business can't take that risk for $500 a year. And at DOL, we're trying to help businesses to run their shops safely and make sure that the wages they're paying are fair, because down the road, that stuff gets you. And we're trying to make your business less risky.
All right. Question from the, let's see a question over here. Oh, one more from Al, and then we'll get this in.
So we always talk about workers' compensation. The full name of it is workers' compensation and employer's liability. not to pay interns something simply so you have coverage in effect.
Yes, and question?
Yeah, the panel is most interesting, and it's nice to know that you exist. But what about the people that aren't here? What about other agencies that have other services that we can access, specifically in technology and marketing?
So,
or allied services within the government system?
well, consider us conduits to all those other services. So I believe my colleague said we have connections to all the other agencies. So the agencies that aren't here, let's say Department of Financial Services or the Canal Corporation, we are connected in some way, so we can find that for you. Now, your particular issue about technology, I would put my colleague Jenny on the spot from Empire State Development, because I know they have services that help businesses, small businesses, with all of their needs. So this proprietor here had a question regarding she can't find adequate IT services for her small business. So I would invite you to talk to Jenny, this lovely young lady here in the green jacket, get her card and see if we can make something happen. But we are connected to all the other state agencies. So there's not an agency here represented. Talk to us and we'll get you connected to someone there.
Are the agencies running workshops and seminars?
Most of them are.
I see Helena, so I'll speak for Helena. Helena, since COVID, has done 100 webinars every year with federal, state, and city agencies. So you can look at our archive, and on chamber.nyc, there's an archive, because a lot of these questions are just the same thing as public education. Businesses starting out need the basics. But also, you can just contact us. We do have, as Alvin mentioned, a law center, and we help our members and we get them the best and the most current information, whether it's IT. And I believe we have an IT type seminar tomorrow from our IT committee for artificial intelligence for your legal services. So that might be a good one for you to show up at, because everything ties in between legalities, regulation, and doing the right thing for businesses. So we're going to try to help you, and Jenny Lowe and her team in Empire State Development cover the world. The Global New York program's fantastic. Their revitalization programs are fantastic. I believe we're honoring somebody from Dobbs Ferry who got a revitalization grant for millions of dollars to help their town. So small businesses, if you even factor that down, there's money out there for businesses that have a good plan, are making revenues, but need money to increase those revenues. There's no miracles for hard work and good values, but the Chamber is here to help you every step of the way. And as you know, our agencies here today are fantastic in what they do.
But what I'd like to know is where these seminars, in-person seminars, and lectures and programs are listed, so that we can follow them and know where they are. I mean, all of them.
As I mentioned, we have an archive, so please look at chamber.nyc. Excuse me. Look at the archive. Okay, if the book has been written on history, we don't need to necessarily rewrite it. And if you have questions, stay in touch. Sign up for our free emails, because we do seminars. As I said, we're doing a webinar on legal services and artificial intelligence. You might find some answers in that tomorrow.
And I'll add, before we get to the gentleman with the question here, we have Michael here. Give Michael your card, and Michael will put you on our distribution list. So whenever we go out here, or we're going out in Rochester, we blast that out to everybody on our list, so that you know that this group of agencies, and maybe even more, are doing a certain thing in a certain place. So do that, and we'll put you on that list. And that goes for everybody if you're interested in it. We can get you. That's the best I could do. You could also. It's very. There's no central repository for all the workshops that are happening in New York State. Each one of these agencies will list a workshop or something they're doing on their website, but maybe that's a hole that New York State needs to fill so that we can put these things centrally so people can consume them. So,
and looking forward, tomorrow, I believe April 6th, we're having a Small Business Administration webinar, Helena, and government grants and contracting. There's a lot of stuff going forward and a lot of stuff on the history panel at chamber.nyc. We call it Chamber TV.
We have a power networking lunch in person in April, this first or second week in April, for the SBA and all their services to help small businesses. So that will be an in-person power networking lunch.
And I believe I saw a question over here, and I have another question for the panel.
So, I guess to stay on the topic and off the topic, I want to get maybe some direction. So I'm a real estate broker. I'm celebrating 40 years. And over the 40 years, I've worked for maybe 7 or 8 different companies. And as an independent contractor, and most of us are small businesses, we have absolutely no rights. It's kind of like 100 years ago, it's Hollywood, and there's actors, and before the unions came in, you got what the boss or the landlord, what they gave you. And I really believe we're at a point right now. There's 1.3 million independent brokers in New York City. That's 1/3 of the workforce. And it's great to hear that all these rights that everybody else has, but I have no rights. And I've been through several lawsuits with Douglas Elliman and other big companies, and I've lost all the time was they can outspend me, and it's really not nice. I would like to be an advocate to change the laws, to help people like me that have been run over by these companies. So maybe someone can direct me to a department, someone that would be willing to hear my story and try to change these laws.
I would say that is the way to go. That is the way to go to change statutes. And you said you're not a member of a union? Is that what you said?
There is no union.
No union.
In real estate brokerage.
Okay.
I'm using Hollywood as an example.
Right.
The actors used to get just snowballed until the unions came in and helped them.
Right. They formed a guild, right?
But there's no union in real estate. But I'm looking more for more help from the government, you know?
Right.
I don't want to start a union.
Right. So we here at the agencies, we are, as my colleagues put it, we don't make the law, we enforce, we are regulators for the most part.
Right. I'm just saying, which direction would you point me? What department can I start to talk?
I would start with your state or local representative.
We will have here later, if you would like to stay, Kirsten Gillibrand, our United States Senator, has a little more juice in that because it applies to all the states. Every state, 50 states and a few other territories have labor departments. And as, if you don't know the answer, but you aptly said it, well, is the richest of the mega developers are taking advantage of the hardworking middle class people, and they have been for years. Similar things with Uber and Lyft. I mean, I speak to my chauffeurs now, and as the chamber president, I'm digesting it. Their take of the Lyft is going down. And this is a large company that's not just making millions, they're making billions. Billions. And if you look at our membership, we don't have too many billion-dollar corporations as members. They like to form their own little entities in enclaves. So we do work with JP Morgan, and they help with small business loans and Key Bank. But that's something that if you stay, Kirsten Gillibrand's representative, and that's a big effort. And maybe we should get a few of the independent brokers, the 1099 brokers, to form a committee here at the chamber, because we feel your pain when you're working hard and providing for your families and other families. We want to help you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, question over here, please. Microphone.
I probably don't need it. I'm sure you all hear me.
Hi.
My question is, to his point, what do we have? I'm a real estate agent as well, and I really feel his pain. I have 55 acres of land upstate, and I'm not doing anything because it's hard to trust people right now. So I'm filling out things. But what can we do as far as real estate? Is real estate included in this panel of questions? I mean, like, I'm hearing other things about the taxes and things like that. But as far as real estate, do y'all have anything that you're offering support with real estate?
So we don't have anything specific that deals exactly with real estate. We deal with business. So real estate is a business. It operates the same, it pays taxes, it does the same regulatory environment, minimum wage, all that stuff.
But we have no respect.
Yeah. So and I'll go back to the gentleman over here, is a lot of this is, are you supported as a group, say unionized? I'll take the actors, for example, that you talked about. And tell me if this applies when they were worried about AI taking their jobs, screenwriters and such. A massive group of people took action and they were able to get some concessions to save their livelihoods in their union. So that's how it worked. I don't have the answer to you, but the state of New York doesn't have anything specifically.
Thanks for being honest. So nothing with buildings, regulations. What about nonprofits? Nothing with nonprofits.
Everything is covered under
for-profit
law. Yeah. So labor law covers everything.
So what I'm asking is, let me be a little more clearer. The panel is up there to ask questions only for for-profits, or is this for nonprofits?
So this panel today is with the Department of Labor, New York State Workers' Comp, the New York State Insurance Fund, and New York State Tax and Finance. You heard another one of our guests talking about what about everything else? Well, today, these four agencies are here to answer your questions. The questions that the gentleman and you as independent brokers, we can continue to work on that. Today is not a catch-all, but the networking, you can ask questions, but you should all know, and the agency should know, and everybody should know, the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce is here to answer all your questions. And I hear your questions very similar to these questions, but these agency experts are here today, and they'll stay at their tables because they know we're having a big reception, and then we're honoring other people from different areas of the state too. And there's food from one of the best restaurants that pays its sales tax, pays its workers' comp, and as an independent agent, when you start hiring people, you got to be careful. There comes a point where you're going to have to pay your employment taxes, not pass on the evils of the huge corporation that's doing it to you. So that's why we are proud of these agencies. As a business owner, since 1979, before I got involved with the Chamber, these are the same agencies I worked with and grew up with and learned from. And then when I became an attorney, I specialized in agency law. But today we only have the four agencies, but we do work with other building and all those permits, and we can talk about that later. And I'm sure, again, the answer is it may be on our website, but if not, moving forward, we should do some webinars and live events. I love the live events. And I hope that you're going to love the networking that we're going to do here right after we finish this panel. But we still have about 5 minutes left, Oracle, so let me turn it back to you.
Okay, so I have profit, for-profit, and nonprofit. So for the for-profit, for the nonprofit, do you cover the insurance? For nonprofit?
Again, I'm going to turn it back to Orville, and we can talk later. Your businesses, we can't do a one-on-one consultation with everybody here. You have too many businesses, you're wearing a few hats, but I assure you the Greater New York Chamber can help you wear those hats better.
So, thank you for the questions. I'd like to say we will be available after, and I know the answer to your insurance question. I see another question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla, and thank you. How are you? I have a quick question. I am an MWBE State City Certified, as well as I help consult digital media, advertising, etc. I do have a lot of ideas for the chamber to kind of bridge the millennial generation and different ideas. But outside of that, I would like to ask the panel, what are the most common pitfalls you see for small businesses, especially minority businesses, as it relates to these agencies, and how can we prevent those pitfalls? I probably missed a little bit, but would love to hear like a one-liner, two-liner. There's a one page on it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
Just hear me?
Yes.
So the Department of Labor has a Jumpstart program for small businesses who are just starting out, growing, and they're starting to hire. So we can go through that at the table. I can tell you a lot more about that, but there's many, many resources to help you grow your business. Hiring, recruitment, job banks, there's tax incentives, all sorts of grants, there's training funds out there, all sorts of things. So I highly recommend that you also have our consult service come in and help you to understand how to do it right in terms of HR function as well as health and safety. And make sure that all your ducks are in a row before you're getting investigated and finding out that, oops, I made a mistake. And oftentimes that's what it is. You're a small business operator, you've got 20 hats you're wearing, and you're trying to do everything, and stuff falls through the cracks, and that's where we can help to keep that from happening.
So, undercapitalization and lack of an effective business plan. State Insurance Fund can't help you with that. However,
we can.
So, and I also know that there's a lot of chambers run boot camps and things like that assist, and I know there's a couple of agencies that have similar boot camps. Talk to us afterwards. Talk to me. Give me a card. I can connect you. If, like Mark said, not the specific agencies up here, but we can connect you to agencies. We have those relationships. All right. I do have one. If there's no other questions from the gathered here, I do have one question that I'd like to pose to the panel, and it's along the line of who is an independent contractor. That's what we run across all the time. Somebody with a 1099, right? Can we get a clearer definition of that from the state's, or at least the Workers' Compensation Board's point of view?
Absolutely. The 1099, actually, a lot of people use that for classifying their employees, but that's actually a tax form. It does not qualify a business that you're hiring to actually be an independent contractor. There's like 12 criteria. There's 3 different groupings of criteria for independent contractor. You have the Construction Fair Play Act, you have truckers, and then you have all other industries. We do have a link on the Workers' Compensation Board website to all the criteria that has to be met to be considered an independent contractor. But basically, if you think about it, like if you hire a bookkeeper to work for you part-time and she works for other businesses, she has her own tax ID number, does her own tax filing for her business. She works for other agencies, she has her, or other businesses, she has her own brick and mortar business or whatever. Generally speaking, that would be an independent contractor. Okay?
Oh, yes, also for independent contractors versus like a W-2 employee, right? You're a W-2 employee, you work for an organization. I work for the tax department, right? It's about control. They get to tell me what to do, where I go, the work I do, whereas independent contractor, right? You have that independence. You get to set your schedule and the work you do. But from a tax perspective, we're talking about some common pitfalls. We've already touched on sales tax. Another common pitfall for 1099 earners, make estimated tax payments. W-2s, right? Your taxes are withheld from your paycheck, remitted to the federal and state government. For 1099, you're responsible for that. So make quarterly estimated tax payments throughout the year. So make sure you don't have a big surprise when you file your taxes. And we do have resources on our website, tax.ny.gov, to help you. And stop by my table if you have more questions.
And if you use a payroll system, they will help you with every payroll, so you put it and segregate it so you won't fall into trouble. I do want to thank, I see TC, Mr. Cornelius from the personal representative for the Department of Labor, Mary Lowe from Economic Development. Is Nancy Hernandez here from the Tom DiNapolis, the New York State Controller's Office? One more question, and then Helena, would you like to make a closing announcement after that?
I just know they recently changed the law for the 1099 protection. I thought it was under the previous administration. Can you speak to that? Like, what did they change for 1099?
Just say it again, I want to make sure everybody hears it.
There was a recent law, I know it happened before this new administration, but it was in regards to 1099 for New York. I think it was aiming to provide more protections to independent contractors. It was New York State. Is that correct? Can you speak a little bit more about what the difference is, or am I making that? I could have sworn a law passed like last year. Yeah, there wasn't anything locally?
No, you stumped the panel. We will get you the answer. None of us, I'm looking at their faces, I'm looking at, if I can look at my own face, we have the same face. Like,
okay.
Hadn't heard that one. But that's not saying it's not right, but we will get you the answer.
I think it's from Empire State, but I could be wrong.
Okay. All right.
Just one more, please, one more question.
One more question.
We have our friends from New York Biz Global. What's your question? King Melvin.
Thank you. I think this Greater New York Chamber of Commerce is just amazing because they have, if you don't have the answers, they'll find them for you. But I think there's a buzz going on with the new administration. Small businesses are really having a buzz about what is getting ready to go on. So could anybody from the panel give us an idea, because with this current administration, you really want to know
That's
what
a
we look
great
forward
question, King Melvin. And after we close this, we're going to have some networking, and I believe we're going to have our federal representative for United States Senator Kristen Gillibrand here. I think that's a more appropriate question for our federal partners. And again, this is a small smattering. Thank you for the compliment of what the Chamber does, can do, and will do for you. But today I hope, and I want to thank our friends from the Department of Labor, New York State Workers' Comp, the New York State Insurance Fund, and Tax and Finance, are my new friend, Sarah, my new best friend, because she has a lot of the answers. So let's put our hands together for the panel. And again, I believe